Mic test, 1, 2, 3, mic test, 1, 2, 3. So, March 26, Thursday, 3:38 a.m. Good morning. So, since natapos na tayo sa ating discussion sa General Principles ng Taxation, pumunta naman tayo sa remedies. Now, ano ba ang remedies? Well, basically, in layman's term, ang remedy para yang treatment. Treatment, kailan nagkakaroon ng treatment? Kapag may nakita kang sakit or defect. Now, siyempre, ang taxation din naman sa perfect sa implementation. Nagkakaroon niya ng lapses, which is nakadepende na rin sa interpretation ng mga parties. Now, since may lapses, since may defect, siyempre, kailangan niya ng remedies para maayos yung defect na yun. So, in this particular case, the purpose is to maintain equilibrium between the interest of the state, yung government natin, and the taxpayer. So, punta muna tayo sa remedies of the government. Now, ito yung unang remedy na magagamitin ni government sa administrative level, which is handled by the Bureau of Internal Revenue. Si BIR yan ang nakatas or yung may duty in regards to taxation ng ating bansa. So, the first under administrative level is assessment. So, ano tong ginagawa sa assessment? Ito yung findings kung saan yung taxpayer has not paid correct taxes. So, ganito kasi yan ang process class. Diba every year, nagsasubmit ng tax returns ang mga tao, ang mga taxpayer, companies sa BIR. Na itong BIR naman, siyempre, i-audit nila yan. Titingnan niya nila kung tama yung tax na nabayaran ng taxpayer. Na kung may nakita silang discrepancy or anomaly sa tax return ng taxpayer, mag-start yan sila ng investigation. Pag nakita nilang substantial yung discrepancy sa tax return. So, in connection to that, magpa-file yan sila ng assessment. Now, yung mga companies, takot yan sa assessment. Pag nagkaroon yan ng assessment, tumawag ka agad ng CPA lawyer. Kasi yung CPA lawyer na yan, yan ang makikipagbakbakan sa mga taga-BIR. As in, heavy business yan, nakakatakot yan kapag nakatanggap ka ng assessment notice. Kasi ang nangyayari dyan, kapag nakatanggap ka ng assessment notice, wala kang choice kundi papasukin yung tauhan ng BIR, yung mga auditor, tax auditor ng BIR, para tingnan nila yung books ng company mo. Iimbestigahan kaya nila. Nakakatakot yan, class. Lalo yung assessment notice na yan. Now, in this case, the burden of proof is on the taxpayer during the pre-assessment proceedings. Kasi, ang reason kasi dyan is because of the doctrine of the presumption of regularity on the operations of the government. Kasi it is to assume na yung government proper yung ginagawa niya. Kaya yung burden of proof para patunayan yung pagka-inosente niya is nasa taxpayer. Now, kapag merong siyempre, yung assessment notice na yan, general rule lang yung requirement na yan. And for every general rule, may exceptions. Kailan ba nagkakaroon ng time na hindi kailangan ng pre-assessment notice? Kung saan, hindi mo na iimbestigahan, diretso mo nang kokolektahan ng tax yung taxpayer. Well, 5 yan sila. First is, deficiency of tax is a result of math error. Second is yung discrepancy between the tax withheld and the amount actually remitted by the agent. So, mga simple mistakes lang yan. Yung dalawang yan na hindi na kailangan imbestigahan kasi pag naayos yan, bayad agad. Third is when the taxpayer opting for refund also credited the tax to the tax due. So, basically, humihingi ka na ng refund tapos credit mo pa sa tax due mo yung hinihingi mong refund. Parang 2 beses kang naging sa government. Hindi yan pwede. Masama yan. Fourth is excise tax due has not been paid. And fifth is when article locally purchased or imported by VAT exempt sold to non-exempt taxpayers. Yung 5 instances na yan, hindi na kailangan ng assessment notice. Diretso nang kokolektahin yung tax due. Now, kung may assessment, ang next step dyan is collection. Pero gaya ng sabi ko dito, kapag nangyari tong 5 to, diretso ka na sa collection. So, from the word itself, i-collect mo yung tax due from the taxpayer. Now, sa collection, meron yung dalawang pwede mong gawin. First is distraint. Ano to siya? Well, it is the seizure of the government of personal property. So, basta distraint, personal property yan siya. Whether tangible or intangible. Bakit kailangan i-seize ng government yung personal property? Para to enforce payment of taxes. So, ito na yung mga time na kung saan si taxpayer ayaw magbayad, matigas ang ulo. So, anong gagawin ni government? Kukunin niya ang properties mo para doon niya kukunin yung pangbayad sa tax mo. So, wag matigas ang ulo, magbayad ka ng tamang tax. Na yung distraint na yan, either actual or constructive. Sa actual, well, there's an actual seizure or confiscation of the personal property. Itong si constructive, ang gagawin lang is, the owner is prohibited from exercising his ownership over the property. Kung saan, basically ang tawag dyan, attachment. Pag nagkaroon ng attachment, basically ang mangyayari, yung si owner, hindi niya magagamit yung property. Kumbaga, naka-reserve yan. Naka-abang lang kung ano mangyayari sa proceedings. Yan yung sense ng attachment. Now, kailan ba mag-exercise ng distraint or levy si government? Ito yan. Ito yung mga requisites. First is the taxpayer must be delinquent. Well, except for constructive. Ano ba tong delinquent? Basically, itong si taxpayer has manifested that he has committed illegal or immoral acts. In this particular case, parang nakitang sinasadya ni taxpayer na hindi magbayad ng proper taxes. So, the taxpayer must be delinquent. Parang sinasadya ni taxpayer na hindi magbayad ng proper taxes. Yan si delinquent taxpayer. Next is, there must be subsequent demand for payment. Generally, yan yung assessment. Pero, yung general na yan, meaning lang yan, kapag na-satisfy itong 5, diretsong collection. Kaya ang nakalagay dyan, generally, assessment. Next is taxpayer fails to pay at the time required. Hindi nagbayad si taxpayer. Then, lastly, period to collect or assess tax has not yet prescribed. Ibig sabihin, nasa tamang period pa para i-collect ng government yung taxes. So, basically, kapag itong apat na requisites are present, pwedeng i-exercise ni government ang distraint or levy. Now, ano bang process ng distraint? Ito sa una, may commencement of distraint proceeding. Next is, i-issuehan na yan ng warrant of distraint. Pag ito na-issue na, hindi mo na pwedeng gamitin yung property. Either actual na kukunin sa'yo or i-constructive distraint lang. Basta, pag na-issue tong warrant of distraint, wala na. Hindi mo na magagamit yung property in question. Now, siyempre, ang government kailangan yan makakuha ng pera para ipambayad dun sa tax due na hindi mo binayaran. So, anong gagawin ng government? Ibibenta yan nila sa auction, public sale. Now, pag nabenta nila sa auction, ibibidding na yan, mabibenta na yan sa public auction. And pag nabenta nila sa public auction, yung perang makukuha nila dyan, yun na yung ipapambayad nila sa tax na hindi mo binayaran. So, ito, additional notes naman. Kailan mo gagamitin or ilalagay under constructive distraint ang isang property, ang isang personal property? Well, itong tatlong instances. When the business is kapag yung taxpayer is retiring from business subject to tax, so, ano yung muna ng warrant distraint. Second is, kapag si taxpayer is intending to leave the Philippines, hide or conceal his property, kapag out of his own will, itatago niya, ipiprevent niya ang authorities from confiscating his property. So, aalis siya o itatago niya. Next is, does an act to obstruct proceedings from collecting tax dues which may be due from him. So, ibig sabihin, nakialam siya sa proceedings. Bakit? Para mapigilan or mapadelay yung pag-collect sa kanya ng tax. So, kung makikita natin dito, kapag itong tatlo nangyari, either one of them, si government pwede niyang i-distrain through constructive means ang property ni taxpayer. Basically, walang confiscation, walang actual confiscation na nangyari. Ang gagawin lang, the government will prohibit the taxpayer from exercising his ownership rights over the property. Basically, attaching it, reserving it, na walang gagalaw sa property na yan. Bakit? Kasi ang property na yan, magiging reserva yan kapag ang conclusion, si taxpayer hindi nakabayad ng tax due. And dahil hindi siya nakabayad ng tax due, yung pambayad para sa tax, dyan kukunin sa property. Kaya mahalaga yan si constructive distraint. Now, since sa pag-usapan natin ng distraint, punta naman tayo sa levy. Now, itong si levy, as opposed to distraint, sa kanya is seizure of real property. Yan yung mga lupa, bahay, building. Yan yung property subjected under levy. So, anong procedure niyan? Prepare certificate of levy. Then, kapag na-approve, issuance of notice to taxpayer and registry of deeds. Now, itong registry of deeds, basically, yan yung office ng government kung saan nakalagay or naka-imbak, naka-store yung mga title ng lupa. So, bibigyan ng notice sa taxpayer na itong property na to is being seized by the government, and bibigyan din ng notice si registry of deeds na itong real property na to kinukuha, ina-attach ng government. Nagkakaroon ng confiscation dahil sa hindi pagbayad ng taxpayer ng kanyang tax due. Now, siyempre, hindi lang yan basta i-store ng government, yung real property na yan, kailangan nilang makatanggap ng pera para pambayad ng tax na hindi binayaran. So, anong gagawin nila? I-advertise nila yung real property na yan sa public auction. And then, benta-benta, tsurba-tsurba, nabenta na ang property sa public auction. Na yung perang makukuha nila, ang mangyayari, yun na yung magiging pambayad ng tax ng taxpayer na hindi niya binayaran at the first place. Doon kukunin ng government. So basically, mga taxpayer, magbayad kayo ng maayos kasi ang government may karapatan niyang kunin ang property mo. Whether real property or personal property, intangible man yan or tangible. May karapatan ng government na kunin yan para doon nila kukunin yung pambayad ng tax. Now, ano bang difference ni levy at distraint? Well, si levy, gaya ng sabi ko, real properties yan siya. Ito namang si distraint, personal properties, whether tangible or intangible. Now, kay levy naman, forfeiture is authorized, forfeiture is not authorized. And third, without the right of redemption kay levy, and kay distraint, meron namang right of redemption. Na ano ba tong right of redemption? Basically, this is the right na kung saan pwede mong bawiin yung bagay na nawala sa'yo. Except boyfriend mo. Na pwede mong bawiin yung bagay na nawala sa'yo at the first place. Now, kay levy, hindi na siya pwede. Pero kay distraint, pwede pa siyang bawiin. Now, ano ba tong redemption period? Ito yung 1 year from the date of sale upon payment of taxes. So, kumbaga, yung property na nabenta, yung personal property na nabenta, pwede mo pa siyang bawiin within 1 year from the date kung kailan siya nabenta. After that, wala ka ng karapatan para bawiin yun. Now, ano ba tong topic ng tax lien at tax forfeiture property? Basically, itong si tax lien, sabi dito, legal claim or charge on property, real or personal, as a security default of the payment of taxes irrespective of ownership or transfer thereof. So basically, ano bang meaning yan? Etong si property, yung may-ari niyan, hindi nakabayad ng tax. So itong si tax lien, papasok yan. Ano yan siya? It is the right over that property na kung saan a portion of the value of that property shall be used to pay the tax due of the taxpayer that is the owner of the property. Magulo, di ba? Ganito yan. Itong si property, may value yan siya. Let's say ang value ng property is 1 million peso. Now, itong may-ari ng property na to, hindi nagbayad ng tax due na 100,000 pesos. And hindi siya makakabayad. So, anong gagawin ng government? Well, because of that, may legal claim or charge over that property in the amount of 100,000 pesos. So, basically, yung property na worth 1 million pesos, yung 100,000 pesos over, within that, pag may-ari na ng government, may karapatan ng government over dyan. Yan ang tax lien. The legal claim or charge over that property for the non-payment of tax. Big sabihin, ulitin ko lang, a portion of the value of that property, may legal claim ang government over dyan. Bakit? Kasi hindi nakabayad ng tax yung taxpayer. So, kukunin ng government yung tax due from that value, from that portion of the property. Now, ano naman tong forfeiture property? Basically, ang nangyari dito, binenta ang property sa public auction. Kaso yung amount of the highest bid is insufficient para makover yung tax due. So, anong gagawin? Hindi siya nabenta sa public auction. So, ang mangyayari, ibibigay na lang kay government or kukunin na lang ni government yung property in question. Kasi nga, hindi siya nabenta. So, si government na lang ang hahawak dyan. Now, kapag sa administrative level, hindi enough yung mga processes doon or mga remedies doon, pupunta na yan sila sa korte. Yan na yung final level, ang judicial level. Diyan na sila maglalabanan. Now, una, civil actions. Ano to? Actions instituted by government to collect internal revenue taxes. Kung baga, si government, nag-file na ng kaso sa korte and it is a civil action. Now, kailan to nangyayari? First is when a tax it becomes final and unappealable because the taxpayer fails to file an administrative protest with the Commissioner of Internal Revenue within 30 days from receipt. So, kapag itong si Commissioner of Internal Revenue issue na ng assessment ng collection kay taxpayer, tapos itong si taxpayer wala lang sa kanya, hindi niya pinansin. So 30 days from that, pwede nang mag-initiate ng civil action si government para makuha kay taxpayer yung tax due. And second, when taxpayer filed protest against assessment and the decision of the Commissioner of Internal Revenue was rendered, but that said decision becomes final and demandable for the failure of the taxpayer to appeal the decision to the Court of Tax Appeal within 30 days from receipt of decision. So basically, ano to? Well, itong sa first, wala talagang ginawa si taxpayer nung nag-decide na si commissioner. Ito namang sa second, nag-decide na si commissioner, nag-appeal si taxpayer kay commissioner. Kaso tong si commissioner, dinismiss yung appeal ni taxpayer. So yung decision ni commissioner naging final and demandable. And ang magiging remedy na lang ni taxpayer kapag pag nag-render na ng final decision si commissioner is to appeal the case to the Court of Tax Appeal within 30 days from the receipt of decision. Kaso, itong si taxpayer hindi nag-appeal sa Court of Tax Appeal. So, ang nangyari, pwede nang mag-initiate ng civil action si government. Now, konting sidestep, na hindi ko nalagay dito. Kapag yung value ng tax due exclusive of Then, exclusive of interest and surcharges, interest o exclusive of charges and penalties is 1 million pesos and above. Ang proper ang proper court na pupuntahan is Court of Tax Appeal. Now, kapag yung principal amount of taxes and fees exclusive of charges and penalties is less than 1 million sa regional trial court, municipal trial court, and metropolitan trial court ang proper court na puntahan. So, i-repeat lang, kapag yung value ng principal amount of tax and fees exclusive of charges and penalties is 1 million peso and above, Court of Tax Appeal ang proper court na puntahan. Kapag 1 million below, RTC, MTC, and another MTC. Now, note lang dito, CIR's authorization is important before instituting a civil or criminal action. So, dapat may permiso muna ni CIR, ni Commissioner. Now, kung may civil action, dito naman papasok si criminal action. Ano yung criminal action? Basically, ang mangyayari dyan, may penalty na imprisonment yan. Makukulong ka. Kailan nagkakaroon ng criminal action? Well, the CIR may initiate criminal suit. May criminal action ba kapag may criminal action be filed during the pendency of an administrative protest in the BIR? Yes. Why? Because it is not a requirement that precise computation and assessment of the tax, since what is involved is not the collection of tax, hindi yung amount ang pinipertain nito, but rather a criminal prosecution for the violation of the National Internal Revenue Code. Na itong NIRC, may mga provisions yan na kumbaga, kapag na-violate mo yung mga provisions na yon, pwede kang kasuhan ng criminal charges. Kung saan, pwede kang makulong kapag na-convict ka. So, tread lightly. Mag-ingat tayo, kapatid. So, part 2, rest muna, inom muna ako tubig, share muna ako.